Hello and welcome back, Commanders and Commanderettes. Chesty Puller here with another War Commander video. This one is on the officer set. If you struggle with this, check out my recruit set video, but everyone can do this. Everyone can do the officer set. You might have to do a few things different than me, but I'm going to tell you what they are. I have Mars. Some people don't have Mars. I'm not going to be using Rhino X. I know some people do not have Rhino X, but I believe Mars, Rhino X, and Eve are available in this shop. Don't bother with that other guy, Avery. He sucks. Um, my Eve is got a little bit of damage on her. A couple of minutes. I'm not going to use her anyway right now. Uh, but I'll put her back in the platoon here in just a second. But I wanted to show you the easy way to do stage one of this. Remember, we can use missiles, and also remember, we can use mercenaries. You can use a mercenary right now to draw these four guys out. I prefer just to kill them so they're not in my way. So, and I don't want them to come out when my helicopter's out because they can cause a little bit of damage to my helicopter. There is a viral turret in the back, so watch out for that. You don't want that to grab your sandstorm um, drones. There's a couple of drones that you can use. I've switched it up. I started using the regular survivor drones, but before I was using the Corpus drones, and I think that actually might be better. I might switch back to the Corpus drones because they don't fly out very far. They stay here, so they don't draw the attention of viral turrets and they don't draw the attention of the motorcycles. I actually think this is not good. If you have the Corpus Pilot workshop, use the Corpus Pilot one. I'm going to switch back to Corpus Pilot later. I just wanted to see if these survivor drones could help take out the turrets, and it doesn't look like they are. They're just causing confusion, so they're no good. Now, I think they changed this base. The first time I did it, I'm pretty sure there was only two of those uh, heavy. What are they called? Not Rampage. The anti-air ones there that I'm targeting. What are they called? Rapture turrets. I think there was only two. Now there's four. So I think that they've changed this base. They made it, obviously a little bit more difficult. But it didn't change the difficulty for me because I still had to use two shock turrets. But notice that, you know, I did kill that viral turret in the back with a missile. Um, this base would be a lot harder if you couldn't use missiles. But notice how crappy the sandstorm. My sandstorm is max level. Most people don't have a max level sandstorm because it takes like months to get the sandstorm to max level. This is the max level sandstorm with the max level what do you call it? Workshop and everything, and he still can barely take out a turret. Well, I did see that the drones do shock things, so that's good. But see, what's happening is the drones are going out there, and that Rapture turret is shooting the drones, and then the splash damage got my sandstorm. So I'm gonna change so I don't have those crappy what are the night owl things flying around? I'm pretty sure that those are night owls, but I'm not sure. Now, you can use a couple of corrosion turrets on these two rampage turrets, or you could just use one Maverick and take it out. Um, so I didn't have any Mavericks, so I'm gonna go back and build a Maverick. On the base one, you need one Maverick, and on the base two, you don't need any Mavericks. So just the one Maverick per turn, and you don't need the Maverick. You can use two or three of the corrosion turrets, and that will work too. It's just a lot faster and easier just to use the one Maverick. These two here, I don't believe they can be shocked. These two that I'm taking out right now, I don't believe they can be shocked. So that's why I'm taking them out. I can shock these ones in the back, and therefore they won't be a problem to me at all. Now I have a 7-second wait before I can, not really 7 seconds, it's just a 7-second timer on their thing. It's really like 2 seconds. It's not really 7 seconds. Because their seconds are very fast. All right. So one more shock over here and we'll be good. And then the buggies, be careful of your Eve. Those buggies will kill Eve. That's what happened to me. I brought them in there and I thought, well, Eve can just take out the buggies because the on the recruit bases, the Eve kills the buggies without a problem. But these must be max level buggies on the commander set because they kill Eve pretty quickly. So I like to, you go through this testing, right? You want to try it out this, try out that, and everything. And then I was able to kill a lot of the buggies by shooting the Mars at these power plants right here. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes you're just going to have to bite the bullet and take the buggies on. But the buggies don't cause Mars very much damage. Okay, so uh, what you can do to make the buggies die quicker is drop a corrosion missile on them. I'm not gonna. There's one more buggy over there that's not gonna get corrosion on it. I'm not worried about it. We'll just get these three right here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then there's a fourth buggy over there that doesn't have corrosion, so that's okay. Now I'm just gonna put it pretty much on Ruby and or aggressive and let them come out. And sometimes you'll get lucky with one of those blue balls exploding, and it'll just kill all the buggies. Um, this time we didn't get lucky, but still, it's free repair. Don't worry about it. If you don't have Mars, then use all of your pilums, like 4 or 5 pilums at the same time, and that'll work too. So that's free repair, and then we will put we're gonna put Eve back in my platoon. That's the first thing that's ever caused Eve any problems for me is the buggies on that number one base. Other than that, Eve has always been pretty much um, unharmed. Now for two, we don't need a Maverick missile, so I'm not going to build one. I'm just going to have shock and corrosion. And we don't need that many shocks. One shock usually will shock all of the railguns, and then you're good. Sometimes it won't get all of the railguns. And that, I just showed you right there, that's how you're going to get all your thorium. Thorium is free. And for those of you that don't know, if you need metal and oil, put on Master Loot and hit one metal and oil base and you'll be full. I sometimes hit the metal and oil base twice. I hit it partially, fill up, use some metal and oil to build missiles, and then come back and hit it a second time and fill back up again. It'll fill your base up twice. So I just wanted to kill those roamer mechanized infantry guys, and to be honest, I don't know what they're called. vanguards or something. I really don't know what those are. Um, and then I'm going to use. You can do this with a Pilum, or you can do this with Mars. And I'm just going to take out the two. What do they call those bastions right there? Some kind of bastion turret. The blue ones in the corner that I'm killing. They don't cause much damage to your sandstorm. You could take them out with your sandstorm probably, but I just rather do it that way. Now I can bring my sandstorm in, and there might be a couple of those mechanized infantry that come out. I don't know what they're called, so I'll just call them mechanized infantry. Um, Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. We're going to be in and out of here pretty quick with the sandstorm. This is all we're doing is the railguns mostly and the rampage there. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the video here. Yeah, here comes one of those little guys. I don't know what they're called. Those are not. I think they're legendary vanguards. I don't know what they are. There's so many different mechanized infantry units that, and sometimes it doesn't matter what they're called because Kixeye's version of them is different than our version. Now, I like to leave the helicopter there, okay, and the reason is sometimes he can draw out the motorcycles, and then that gives me an additional thing to shoot off of. If the motorcycles are there, I can shoot some of the railguns in the back. Just keep the helicopter back behind the what do you call it, the low wires there. Don't go beyond the low wires because then the helicopter or the motorcycles can start to shoot you. But see, my goal there was to take out the anti-missile bastion that was there. And so now I can use missiles because missiles, like I said, in the for this particular skirmish event, the missiles are your friends, and mainly you need corrosion and just a few shocks. The corrosions, in case you're wondering, hit for a little bit more power than the shock do. Their damage per second or their damage is a little bit higher. And additionally, they leave corrosion, which the shocks don't. So when something is shocked, it's not taking any more damage. But when it's corroded, it continues to take more and more damage the whole time. So that's why I love the corrosion missiles. And in the past, I've said the corrosion missiles do three things, and that's true. They do. They cause damage. That's one. Two, they corrode, which causes them to get weaker and weaker. And three, once something is corroded, it dies quicker. Yes, you can leave the corrosion there and it might kill it, so you don't even have to come in and kill it. But the third thing that it does is it makes it weaker so that less firepower kills the unit. It might seem like that's the same thing, but it's not. Because the corrosion, yes, it makes it weaker, but the corrosion also slowly corrodes and it can kill those buggies. Just if you leave them alone once they're corroded, they will eventually die. But by having them corroded, any firepower that you use, it's like twice as powerful to them. So that's the third thing that it does. But it also does cause initial damage right off the bat. So I can kill a bunch of turrets just by using the damage of the initial damage of the corrosion missile. Yes, there's other missiles that do a lot more damage than the corrosion missiles, but after the reset or the nerf, basically, the corrosion missiles have enough firepower to take out some turrets with just one shot. So the options that I said for lower levels, you're going to have lots and lots of options. One of those options is the missiles are essentially free. You're going to be getting tons and tons of resources from these bases, as far as you're going to get little yellow boxes up and down in the bottom right hand corner for every base that you do. That's going to give you metals. With those metals, you're going to buy all the thorium you could possibly use. You're going to get so stacked up on thorium, there's no way you'll be able to use all those metals, because you're going to have to start stacking thorium up in your storage. Um, so for the rest of this event, you're not going to have to worry about thorium if you just don't waste those metals. Get those metals and then buy thorium. When your storage is full, start storing thorium in um, your war factory, or in your barracks, or in your um, the one where you build the aircraft, the airfield. The only thing over here, see, that turret is gone. The heavy flak is there, but the only thing that can really cause any damage to my helicopter over here, my sandstorm, is the buggies. And so you don't want to take it in too far, because the buggies, it just takes too long to kill the buggies. But watch, I think I can kill. I'll drop a corrosion missile on on that heavy flak, and I might be able to actually kill one of those buggies. Let me see what the Mars does here. He might do some damage too. Yeah, he killed a buggy. So there's one buggy left. I could take the buggy out with a corrosion missile too, but I'm not going to. Now notice where I dropped that. Notice where I dropped that shock missile, because okay, I got five of them, and I killed one. I killed one of the turrets with the shock missile. So I have to use a second shock, but normally one shock will get that. I must not have had it properly centered or something. Remember to take the buggy out first, because the buggy is still active. The rail guns are now shocked. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to not worry about the rail guns. I want to come over here and get these two rampages. And so I'll use the Overwatch to see if I can get the rampages, and see that worked. And now there's another railgun way farther back, a seventh railgun. And so I'm going to try to use these railguns to kill that seventh railgun. You got plenty of time. I used two shock missiles on there, so that, I mean, those shock missiles last much longer than the actual shock op. The missiles last a long time. I'm going to try to get lined up here so I can take the railgun out. I did stun it, but yeah, there we go. All right. You notice how the shock op was already off by the time I hit that railgun again. But the if you use a shock missile, it lasts a very long time, over a minute. At this point, there's really nothing left. You got to be careful of the power plant that could damage Eve. So let me grab Eve so she doesn't like kill the power plant when she's standing right next to it. And that's it. So that should be free repair. You get your 16,000, you get 28,000 bonus. And so I believe that's going to be 52,000 per thing. Let's see, 28, 16, and 8. Let's see. So you're going to go through some missiles, but wherever you're having a problem, and if your units can't get through it, but if you don't have Eve, missionaries work. If you don't have Mars, Pilums work. So everything that we just did, you should be able to do with missionaries and Pilums. And I know I say this, uh, but you're like, oh, great, you got max level. But if you'll notice, if you ever question, I always go to a low level account. Every event, I help somebody out. I go onto their low level account and I do my best that I can with it. And 99% of the time, I can figure out a way to do it with zero damage with a very low level account with low level units. So I'm getting ready to do that for a friend of mine. So I'll put that video out there too. But I know that this can be done for low levels.